This actually goes back and talks about Christ being born, and then it talks about the tribulation, and then it talks about future events, right? After the tribulation, during it. And so we're going to look at that. Now let's read in Revelation chapter 12. I don't know why I was going to say Romans there. We're not going to Romans at all.
You're roaming around.
Revelation chapter 12. Now a great sign appeared in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And we're going to do a running teaching here. We're not going to just read the whole chapter. So I'm going to preach as I read. All right, now this great sign appearing in heaven. This is talking about, first and foremost, Mary and Jesus, being pregnant with Jesus. But it is also referring to the nation of Israel. And how you see this is it says a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Being with child, she cried out. So this is talking about the Christ child, but let's think about a vision that a young man named Joseph had, where he said he saw the sun and the moon and the 12 stars bowing to him, right? And so here we see the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, his brothers bowing before him. So it is the nation of Israel, but it's also talking about the Christ child, as we'll see as we read a little bit further. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his heads. Now these 7 heads refer to all the nations that have tried to destroy Israel, going clear back to when they were led into captivity, Babylon. You've got the Greeks, the Persians. They refer to that, and then that final one being the Antichrist trying to destroy. That, the Jews, the devil knows that great red dragon is talking about Satan. That great red dragon has always known that Messiah would come from Israel. Messiah would come to redeem the people and to break the curse. So he has always tried to destroy Israel. Even during World War II, they tried to destroy and take out the Jews. This was demonic. Even there to this day, the anti-Semitism, Jew-hating is coming into the church. It's invading the church again. And they're saying, the Jews are cursed. The Jews have been cut off. Now, when it talks about the Jews, maybe we are going to Romans. In Romans chapter 15, this isn't in my notes, and in the end of Romans, he's talking to them and he says, if they were cut off, right, the natural branches of the olive tree, how much easier for you. Don't get prideful. Don't get arrogant, because he will redeem his people Israel. Yes. Yeah. And he even talks about one new man being formed, right? He even says, if they're falling away, the Jews falling away, caused all the Gentiles to be saved, how much more will it be when they're redeemed? How much greater rejoicing will there be in heaven? So this red dragon, a great fiery red dragon, represents Satan. And with his tail, he threw down 1/3 of the stars of heaven. Most Bible scholars talk about 1/3 of the stars being his demons. But I think right here it's talking about a battle that's going on in the tribulation. If you notice, it's like talking about Israel throughout history, the 7 heads, and then it's talking about Israel in the present tense, and it's talking about the Christ child being born. But then now it's talking about the tribulation again. And I believe this is going to be a heavenly event where there's meteors or stars, whatever it was that John saw, probably meteors, because if stars started hitting the earth, it'd be all over, right? So they're probably, they're not stars. Okay, because stars are the size of the sun, which is Yeah, so much bigger than the earth. Stars aren't falling to the earth. This is a supernatural event. This is something that's happening that the dragon did. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. This also going back 2,000 years ago to when he was born in Bethlehem. Herod said, that old dragon, that red dragon said to Herod, go kill every child under the age of 2, every male child. Ready to devour her child. She bore a male child, who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. So we know it's talking about Christ here.
Yes.
And her child was caught up to God and his throne. Again, reiterating that it is Jesus. Because where is Jesus? He is sitting, bodily resurrected, at the right hand of God. At the right hand of the Father. So, his efforts failed. The devil did not kill him when he was a baby.
Amen.
As a matter of fact, Jesus said these words to Pilate, you can do nothing to me unless I allow it, my Father. So that tells me that the devil didn't even kill him on the cross. He gave up the ghost. He died freely. No man could kill the Son of God. No man. He gave his life freely. So she bore this child, but then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Well, now we're not talking about Mary anymore. We're not talking about in the time of Jesus' birth or in his lifetime. We've gone forward in time to when Jesus is sitting on the throne. And 1,260 days is 3.5 years. We're at the last half of the tribulation. God gives Israel a way out. Now we go to it representing not Mary, not the woman who gave birth, the virgin who gave birth to Jesus, but we're talking about Israel. And Israel was given a place prepared by God, and they should feed her there for 3.5 years. We'll just say 3.5 years. That's so much easier than 1,000.